Hello, and welcome to issue number 3 of 4-Color Fantasy Review. I'm your host, Joel. Alright, welcome to our third issue. 3 issues in. I hope you're enjoying it. It's a lot of fun, I think. I wanted to take a moment to show you some trade paperbacks that I think are cool, and I want to review them for you so you can check them out yourselves. One of them is one that just came out recently, within the last 2 months, and the other one that came out a little farther back. But I think they're really great, and you should definitely collect them for your collection, read them, and it's an easier way of doing it, I think, because sometimes you just don't have enough time to get every comic book out there. And the trade paperbacks allow you to get a few different issues put together, bound together, and watch or read for yourself later. First up, Star Wars Skywalker Strikes. This collects issues 1 through 6, written by Jason Aaron, art by John Cassaday, and colors by Lauren Martin. And there's all the covers are in here too from each of the issues. They've been drawn by John Cassaday, Lauren Martin, and Paul Mounts. So, the story thus far takes place just soon after Episode 4, A New Hope. Our valiant rebels have taken on the Death Star and destroyed it, and they've got new adventures to take on and fight. But not just them. The story doesn't just involve Han and Luke and Leia and Chewie and the droids, R2 and C3PO. We also get to meet a vast new set of characters. People that come up later in the other movies and come up later in the other comic books. They even have a moment where Luke meets Darth. It's an interesting conversation, let's say. But we also find out some things that's going on with Darth Vader. He has his own agenda. And it connects to another set of comic books, which I will do the trade paperback for that eventually, about Darth Vader and what's going on with him. This is really cool. I have to say, what makes it so cool is the fact of how it connects to the movies, connects to some of the other books that have been written, which, of course, they're no longer canon. So when Disney bought Marvel Comics and then Star Wars, they decided to bring them back together into the fold. At one point, for a while, Star Wars comic books were written by DarkHorse Comics, but that has since changed. So if you want to, those are still collected. You can go and find those in your local comic book store. I put a link to find your local comic book store down below. But getting back to this, what makes this really cool is the way the characters look. They look reminiscent of the way they looked in the movies. You even see some characters we haven't seen yet before that you probably wouldn't see until you saw the movies. Jabba the Hutt makes an appearance. Of course, I already said Darth Vader. But I don't want to give too much away. I want you to be able to read this. It's a great arc between Episode 4 and Episode 5. And it's ongoing. It's still going on right now. I think they're on issue number 14 or 15. And it just gives more character development to the characters. We get to see what Luke's thinking about what's happened to him and his revenge that he wants to get on Vader. We learn more about the relationship between Leia and Han and how that starts to build more, and just some of the other things that happens to the characters. I think Aaron and Cassie do a great job with the art and the dialogue and the plot. They take something that we haven't seen in a while and they give it a fresh new look. The one thing I wish that happened was Leia's outfit. She really doesn't change her hair through the first part of the stories. It isn't until the last 2 or 3 issues that she puts her hair up in the way it's in the Episode 5 when they're on the Hoth planet, where it's in the back in a swirl or twirl. But other than that, I really can't give it much of a fault. I think it's really good. Like I said, the storylines are great, and the coolest thing about the trade paperbacks that you don't get with the comic books is you have some sketch work showing you what the layouts look like and the changes and the movements and the designs choices they make. and also gives you some character drawings of what they want to do with the characters and where they want to take them. So it's almost like a behind the scenes, sort of like when you get a Blu-ray or DVD and they have all those featurettes in the back. That's what you get here. So if you're looking for a trade paperback to get caught up with what's going on in the Star Wars universe, since Disney made the changes, adding that whole Legends sequence, meaning anything that's been written since before, the newest movie came out is called The Legends, and it's all like another storyline of the universe, whereas this is canon. So, or what it is now. So read this great book. If you don't have the time to get them in issue format, this is a great way to do it. So enjoy. Next up, we have from Image Comics, The Wicked and the Devine. This is a trade paperback of the first 5 issues, written by Keiron Gillen. The artwork is by Jamie Mckelvie. The coloring is done by Matthew Wilson, and yeah, I mean, I don't know where to start with this. It's a great story because one of the things that Keiron Gillen is trying to do is take a lot of the pop art we know from the past and in a way revitalize it. Not just have nostalgia for the art and stuff and the pop music and all that went before, just to nostalgia, look at it and see, oh, how great it was. He takes and blends it in with modern times. The story idea is every 90 years, 12 gods return as young people. They are loved, they're hated, and then in 2 years, they all die. All of them. And it's happening now. And it's happening again. Meaning some of them are dying or going to die. We see the storyline play out through the eyes of a character who isn't one of the gods, and her exploration of learning about the gods, who the gods really are, getting to know them and see them as human beings, but with godlike powers, and how they become human. She's a great character because we get to see her surprise, her reactions of sadness, of happiness, and Keiron is really great storyteller. He's one of my favorite new writers. I got to meet him last year at the Emerald City Comic Book Convention. Got to meet Jamie Mckelvie too, and I recently met Matthew Wilson at the Portland Comic Book Convention, Rose City Comic Book Convention. But I think I spent the most time talking with Keiron just about pop culture of the time, what he was trying to represent, and just how he and Jamie wanted to change the way we look at the world around us if we saw gods come to Earth now, and what they would look like and how they would act. And when I say gods, I mean like the gods we think of like in Greek mythology and Norse mythology, and just what they would look like in human form nowadays, and how we would idolize them nowadays. And that's what also makes it interesting, is because we get to look at how we've idolized rock stars, artists, actors, royalty, and it gives a fresh perspective on that idea of idolatry, pop culture, death, mystery. Makes for great writing, makes for great artwork, and I definitely would recommend going and picking this up too. It came out, let's see, I think last year, a year and a half, so it's still pretty new. If you get a chance to meet Keiron or Jamie or Matthew, talking to them is awesome because they're really down-to-earth guys and they have a lot to share about their thoughts and feelings on the subject of comic books and pop culture, and yeah, just all that stuff in general. So that's number 2. Moving on to our next one. Alright, last up is Leaving Megalopolis by Gail, Simone, and Jim Califiore. This one comes from DarkHorse Comics. I didn't know if I'd like this when I first read about it. I've been following Gail and Jim for a while. Gail I've been following because of her time on Wonder Woman and Batgirl, and most recently she's been on Birds of Prey as well, and she's also been doing The Secret Six. She's just really like amazing. I've met her a few times at comic book conventions. She's a very down-to-earth lady. She likes to talk to her fans and other artists and writers, and just really is really stand-up person. I really like her. This is an amazing piece of work. It's called Leaving Megalopolis because, well, from the cover you'll see that there are some characters that look very dark and eerie and grim. It's because the city of Megalopolis was originally called the safest city in the world because, well, it was home to all these superheroes. But some strange event occurred, and every superhero, well, things got flipped. They became dark, evil, destructive, out for themselves, dangerous, to be precise. So the story is not because of what's going on then, what led to it, but a few, well gosh, maybe because they're so powerful and they can do so much, maybe only a few minutes to an hour after it occurred. It's told from the vantage point of a character named Mina, who is a police officer, and her ability to try and help people get out of the city. She keeps meeting people who are afraid or lost someone, and they're trying to find them, and she's trying herself to get out of the city without being killed or killing someone because, well, now the superheroes aren't helping anyone, it's all people for themselves, and they come to find out why no one from the outside is coming in. It's a great take on superheroes and what can happen and what if superheroes went bad, if they went from being the good guys to the bad guys. We learned a lot about different kinds of characters. There's a female heroine and just how evil she becomes from being this wonderful, beautiful, happy person to this evil, maniacal, well, the B word comes to mind. There's a character that was reminiscent of the Flash called the Fleet. There's a character that is reminiscent of Superman. There's different kinds of character tropes that we're used to in comic books, and they do a great job of showing you what would happen if they went dark, they became evil. And they do it in a way that is not just subtle but amazing. Like, you see what it looks like when things go wrong for anyone in life and how you would survive it. I like this. I just can't keep saying how much I like and love this work. I think it's their best work ever. There's even a foreword by Mr. Mark Waid talking about the same thing, just about how wonderful these people are and what they did. He actually says the team of Gail, Simone, and Jim Califiore rock, and I agree, they do rock. So this is another trade paperback to pick up at your local comic book store. Just to go over what we reviewed today, we have Marvel Comics Star Wars Skywalker Strikes. We have Image's The Wicked and the Devine, and Leaving Megalopolis from DarkHorse. So if you're interested in reading those trade paperbacks, picking them up for yourself, I put a link again to the description, a place in the description to buy comic books. You can also order them online from the publishers themselves, and I hope you have a chance to read them. They're great, and I will see you next time. And don't forget to give this a thumbs up, comment if you like, and subscribe to see more 4Fantasy reviews. See you real soon.